Hey everyone, welcome to the 136th edition of ClariTea Chat. Today we have with us Parna Ghosh, Group CIO of Minda, one of India's leading automotive component manufacturers with a global footprint, providing innovative solutions to the OEMs worldwide. Hey Parna, welcome to this session. Cheers.
Hi, thank you. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So let's introduce Parna. He's born and raised in Calcutta. Um, he started working as an office executive after dropping out of college due to student politics. And that's where he discovered computing while working as an office executive. But I think he realized the value of education and he completed degrees in arts, computer science, and an executive MBA. And right now he's pursuing a course in AIML. With deep hands-on experience in retail and business operations, he transitioned into impactful IT roles. Parna's career spans roles at KB Cells, Merino Industries, Pricol, Taco, Honda Motorcycles and Scooters India, CNH Industrial, and now working as a group CIO at Minda. He's an impactful leader and an outsourcing expert who unified IT across 115 sites at Minda, strengthened cybersecurity and accelerated digital maturity with agility and cost efficiency. His leadership philosophy is stay curious, stay relevant, learn, adapt, and lead with impact. So we'll, as usual, cover his life history, but our focus will be on these themes, which should be relevant to all of us. From college dropout to a lifelong learner leader, he'll narrate how this happened. Learning multicultural working, India and global, and its impact in growing yourself. Driving business impact with IT as a profit center. And I think that puts you on an even keel with your peers in the business when you're also earning money. Harmonizing and transforming IT for a fast growing group and how it drives scalability, transforming stakeholder experiences with a data culture and cybersecurity excellence. His journey is shaped by risk taking, innovation, strategic impact, and a deep commitment to continuous learning, both formal and informal. So we'll end the chat with a rapid fire round to bring out the personal side of Parna and then a reverse question to me. So let's start, Parna, before we start talking of serious things. Let's get some energy going up. Please share a humorous, professional, or personal incident.
Uh, you know, when I was in KB sales, I was offered the job of, the supermarket manager, and this was, I think, the biggest joke I thought in that at that point of time in my career. But actually, it shaped very well later on, and in understanding people, managing people, and leading from the front. So I think a joke converted into a kind of a leadership lesson for me. Thanks.
Okay, so this was like you were asked to handle technology, and then suddenly you were taken out of technology and made a supermarket
Yeah.
manager. Okay, I think when we were talking, I think that was your real grounding into operations. Warehousing, inventory, ordering, purchasing, etc. Anyway, so we will know more about Parna as we go through. Uh, Before we go forward, just an acknowledgement for our audience. We have CXOs, founders, IT managers, and seasoned technology industry leaders in our audience. All of us know that technology is necessary but not sufficient to drive business performance. The guests on ClariTea Chat, like Parna, have built the bridge between the necessary and sufficient with their art of managing technologies. And ClariTea Chat builds that bridge between their learnings and all of you who are trying to make a powerful impact with technology. So thank you all for joining us for the last 135 episodes and encouraging us with your interactions and questions. Just to remind you that from April 25 onwards, the new financial year, ClariTea Chat is going to be a monthly interaction given my other responsibilities, especially with Flock and Go. Yeah. May I request our audience to share your name and where you're joining from in the comment box of LinkedIn and YouTube. And let's see who have already joined us. So we already have Amrinder, like always, the first hand to show up. Hey, thanks Amrinder for joining. Greetings to everyone from Nama, Bengaluru. Good evening, Parna and Jagdish. Hey, good evening, Amrinder. Hey, everybody else. It feels like it's only me, Parna, and Amrinder here on the chat. So if you're there, make your presence felt. Okay. So let's get on and let's get curious about Parna. Okay. So Parna, please give us an overview of your education, career, company's roles, and one highlight each. I think we can be very brief because we have lots of more questions to come on the themes that we talked about.
Thanks, Jagdish, first of all, for inviting me for this Chat. ClariTea Chat is, I think the tea is very important. It's with tea, so I'm also enjoying my tea right now. So this is one. Second thing is, before I start, I think I must appreciate, you know, Jagdish, you and your team for organizing 136 such sessions and the kind of preparation, use of technology, I will say the kind of vibrance you have created in this kind of a forum. It's amazing to see. And many of the leading media companies do not have this kind of a setup. I think that's really commendable. So just wanted to share my views before I start. Uh,
Thank you, Parna.
I was in physics honors. Also, I passed out from a very renowned school from West Bengal. And then after that, I was in physics honors under Calcutta University. But then those days was the Rajiv Gandhi Hatao days. And then in Bengal, we had the communist government. So obviously, there was a huge influence of communist in the education sector. So I was again in a leadership role in student politics those days, and unfortunately, I was not able to complete my graduation in physics honors, and I had to drop out from the college. It was a big blow for me. After that, I realized there was a big setback in the entire career. Suddenly, there was a big jerk, and I joined an organization as an office assistant without any graduation in place. Then that organization was KB, DP Ahuja and Company, which was basically a patent and trademark attorney firm. And there I started doing, the patent filings, trademark filings. It's an attorney firm for patents and trademarks and, copyrights. I used to file the things, used to do some clerical work in paper and something. But the promoter told me, you are very young and most of the people here are lawyers. So they can't do anything, but you can start using computer. I have a computer for you. So I started using, typing like that. I never learned typing also. So starting using the computer like one, two, three, four, writing a sentence used to take almost 10 minutes because I was not habitual in using those large TVS keyboards with the mechanical keys in place and the green screen and all this stuff was there. Hence, the journey started working there. Slowly, I started learning computers. Then, I think 3 years later, I realized that I am completely out of the pond being a fish. So I have to complete my graduation, and then I did graduation in arts. Why arts? Because that was the easiest thing to complete, at least to become a graduate, to get better prospects in my career. Further, after 10 years of time, I completed masters in information technology, which is MSc from Karnataka University. That also I got very good opportunity because I did the GNIIT from NIIT as the first batch of GNIIT in Kolkata. So they gave me an opportunity for lateral entry, and then I completed the MSc from there, and it also helped me a lot, which I'll share later on. Then executive MBA I did during the COVID times, and now again I am pursuing digital transformation and in AI, ML, and innovation from IIT Guwahati. So learning is continuous with me. I'm 56 right now, Jagdish, for your information. But I think I don't know how long I will be learning and earning together. But it is going fine, and I think as long as I enjoy earning through learning, I think I'll still continue doing the same thing.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So, Panna, just walk us through a little bit about the, let's say the organizations you worked with, and let's say one, kind of one takeaway in terms of how it shaped your future roles. So,
Yeah.
so you started with KB, right? And then
I started with DP Ahuja and Company, if you
KPI was
remember that.
started.
Yeah, that was a trademark and attorney firm. And then I moved to a company called KB Sales. In between, I worked also 1 year for a Canadian multinational, but that company got sold out or it had some problem in India. They stopped the operations. So that I have not, I'm not discussing at this point. But then
Yeah,
KB
yeah,
sales was a significant move in my career. There were, I think, 1,500 programmers were called. Those days, there used to be walk-in interviews, if you remember. So
yeah.
1,500 programmers walk-in interview, Salt Lake Stadium. I still remember. We all sat into the corridors of the stadium with, the papers, and I have to write the programs. The programs were written on papers. It was submitted. After a week, I think we were called. 150 was shortlisted. After that, there was a second shortlisting. Around five was shortlisted, and I was one of them. So I
Wow.
got the opportunity out of 1,500 people, which is really a commendable thing at that point of time. And I had a quite good knowledge on Fox Pro and C and Basic and COBOL and so on and so forth, Clipper, those programming languages. I joined as a senior executive EDP. Those days IT was not used as a department name, so it was EDP. And I joined this course, this company, and then after 6 months, the IT manager left the company, and suddenly the promoter of the organization, Mr. Mukherjee, he told me, you have to take care of this supermarket. Sorry, you have to take care of the IT first. So I'm sorry. First, he told me you have to take care of IT as a manager. And I was quite surprised that I've never done IT management. I don't know anything about the hardware, network, servers, and all these things. And those days we used to have the coaxial cables network and all these things were there. So okay, sir, I will do this. Then I started, understanding what is network, how it really works, what are the protocols. Those days firewalls and all these things were not very common in place, so mostly we used to have this dial-up network, this VSNL 1722226 kind of scenarios. And then we used to connect to the servers for VSNL and then download the mails and something like that, and things were going fine. After 1 year, I think worked there, the supermarket manager left. And my promoter again told me, now you have to take care of the supermarket because you know how the software works. You can also take care of the hard part of the supermarket. And I was really very surprised and shocked. How can I be an IT person suddenly go and join the supermarket? And I was leading around 5 or 7 people those days. Suddenly, 100 people started reporting to me, and I don't know what to do with the shift schedule, their rosters, and their skill sets, their competencies. Somebody's going on leave to what to do with the other guy, and it was a huge mess. For first 7 days, I was completely having sleepless nights. But then realized that I have to do this, so I have to understand the tricks of the trade, and it started well. After 3 or 4 months later, the warehouse manager left, and Mr. Mukherjee again told me, you have to take care of the warehouse as well. So IT, supermarket, warehouse, all three started, falling under my portfolio. But the best part is I started understanding how FMCG works, how retail works, what is to be done, what is shelf life, which has to be ordered, which product to sell to get better margins, which should not be sold in bulk to lose margins, and so on and so forth. I think that gave me a real good feeling of business, and I got into the thick and thin of the businesses. But then sooner I realized that I have no leaves for me. Why? Because 6 days the supermarket was working and Monday was a holiday when I have to go and update the inventory, look at the store replenishment situation, look at the supermarket shelf life, and look supermarket shelf replenishment, and so on and so forth. So I had to really, I was not okay with 7 days of working kind of a scenario. I quit. After I quit, there was no job with me that those days, and then I just simply left the job without anything in my hand. I got some connects with the UTI and UCO Bank, SBI, UBI, and got some share transfer, or you can say demat kind of demat, from material document to demat conversions. So we written a program and I hired some people, data entry operators, and overnight 24/7 used to work, go get those documents from the share market Calcutta Stock Exchange and submit after 7 days with floppy drives. So floppy, we used to give the data in two floppy drives and they used to take the data. It went on well for 3 4 months. Then I again thought this is not the right career for me. I have to join somewhere, and I joined Merino Industries in 1998. Merino, I worked in Kolkata office as a IT. I think it was assistant manager or deputy manager. I think in the starting point, I worked there for 2 years in the head office in Merino, and then they transferred me to Pune. Now this is a big turning point in my career. When I was transferred to Pune, I never knew what is Pune. I only knew Pune is famous for Shivaji Maharaj and nothing else. And then I thought maybe it's a good decision to go to Pune, because I had a very bad, educational career, the academics, and then the career was very flat. In Kolkata, I worked almost 9 years that time, and the career was almost flat, very very small increments. But the only thing is the quality of life was very good. You leave the office at 6 o'clock, go for cinema, theater, music festival, blah blah blah, go for a nice restaurant, hopping and something, and things were going hunky dory. Then I went to Pune, and the situation completely changed my life. And I really thank Maharashtra and Pune from the core of my heart. Even today, I can speak Marathi very well. I picked up the language also very, very quickly. By the way, so Pune transformed me because it actually showed me what is professionalism, how to look at what outlook you should have. Because in Kolkata we were like a frog in the well, so we didn't have the exposure to the entire world, how the world is actually working. But Pune actually showed me that. And even not only that, in that role I had to take care of the western region and the southern region. So it gave me exposure of meeting different types of people, whether they're a Tamilian or a Telugu or a Kannadiga or a Malayali or a Maharashtrian, and people from Gujarat. And also I was taking care of two locations in Delhi. So I had a multicultural, how to say, affinity, and also I had an understanding how people behave, how people react, what are the cultural, differences between people from each state, food, language, everything. So it was a huge experience for me in understanding people. The first different exposure apart from the normal IT practices which we have. So Merino, I worked again for 5 years, and in between I completed my master's degree also. And I have understood one thing, that education never betrays you. Anybody can betray your boss, your manager, even your family members. But one thing is that education and knowledge, it never betrays you. It again gave me an opportunity to start my first stint in automotive industry, which is 2005. I joined Precall as the IT head for the Pune plant. And I had a 2 months of training on extensive knowledge dissemination for me on SAP. I led the project of SAP implementation. So SAP became a rubber stamp in my career from 2005 onwards. And after that, Jagdish, let me tell you very honestly, I never looked back from 2005 onwards. Till now, I think SAP has a huge impact in my career, and no doubt from the morning till night, we can blame SAP for many things, but one thing I am sure about me, that it has created a huge impact and a huge contribution in my career.
Absolutely.
1 year post pre-call, I just worked for an year. I got floods. I had flooded. I was flooded with opportunities. I joined TACO, which is one of your companies as well, your subsidiary or your supplier. So Tata Automotive Components in the joint venture called Tata Toyo Radiator. Also got the flavor of Japanese culture in Tata Toyo Radiator, because it was a 50-50 joint venture those days. And then as an IT manager, bought my first car in Pune, bought my first two-wheeler in Pune. Everything started. So my prosperity actually started happening in Pune, and I was enjoying the job very well. Again, after 14 months of working in Tata Toyo, I got first opportunity in the OEM, which is my first biggest break in my career, which is Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India, which is in Manesar. And today also I am in Manesar. I think I have completed, I was just calculating 17 years in Manesar in
17 years
different
in Malaysia. Yeah, yeah.
two companies mostly. 16 years. Yeah. So then I was in Manesar for 7 years in Honda, and I have a lot of transformation which I share later on. Then joined CNH in a global role. So I was heading the India, Southeast Asia, Pakistan, and Japan. Don't think Pakistan is a abusive word, but it is a part of my role. So anyway, I never visited, by the way, but I was managing things from here. So, and then obviously it was a huge global exposure for me, understanding the global people. So Southeast Asian teams, Italians, French, British, Americans, Australians, Chinese, you name them, Koreans, then Turkish, Russian. So I worked with all geographies people, and I worked with in lot of global projects as well, with Fiat Chrysler, because CNH was a subsidiary of Fiat Chrysler those days,
Subsidiary
and
of
still, yeah. So I think it was a huge exposure working with global teams, working in global culture, working in global platforms, and then last but not the least time in Uno Minda, which is one of the fastest growing Indian multinational in the space of automotive ancillaries for last 8 years. I have been assigned the DPO role also, as you understand. DPO is Data Protection Officer, which is part of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, which is the compliance to that. And I think things are going pretty well. Touchwood. I'm very happy with myself and my career so far. What I've achieved, I've never thought that I would have achieved this level with a very very disturbed, initial academics. But I think later on things really shaped very well.
Awesome, awesome. So, I mean, just to summarize, I mean, he had a very humble beginning, after dropping out of college, uh, as an office assistant, and then got an encouragement from the proprietor to learn computer, and then completed his graduation, completed his masters in IT, and I think an important one was to learn the basics of business in that supermarket, the ground level processes. In fact, Parna, just to share my experience with you, when I was a service engineer in Hyderabad, I also, dirtied my hands in our warehouse, which the company used to run in the basement, and the ground floor and first floor was our office. So I used to many times chip in for the spare parts people when the load was more or somebody was absent. And the basic things, like what's a pick list, and what's a physical inventory, of course all of us used to do, and how's the stocking done, the ordering and sales, the FIFO, and all the minimum MOQ, a lot of those things, I mean, we know the terminology, but to learn it as to how it operates, how these it needs to be set up on the systems. I think all those things, and that learning stays with you, because even today, if somebody talks
Very
about a
true.
warehouse operation, I can actually talk at a level just because of the hands-on exposure. So I would really credit that a lot. But I think then, yeah, learned SAP has been, you've been educating yourself, got a cross-cultural exposure at CNH. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And now the group CIO at a fast-growing company. So, Parna, you did talk a lot about your, I mean, educating yourself and being a lifelong learner. So I will not really, go deeper into this question, but because you have shared a lot, so maybe in addition, you can talk about, how has this, I mean, the continuous learning powered your career? Because I think you were sharing that whenever you did something, you got a break in your career. So you can probably talk about it, and maybe from our audience point of view, you can probably give a little bit guidance about, how to continue learning, and what's the importance of this in your personal growth.
So I think once I completed, my graduation, I got my second job. So obviously, I understood that without graduation, I would have continued in the same company, but without any growth. So that was the first. I mean, this very small break. Second, my master degree, which gave me the opportunity to work with Precall. Precall would have never hired me. I was a BA graduate with an honors as well. But then, whatever experience you have, you need to have the at least a basic education in place, which actually really helped me a lot. Then executive MBA, although it not did not help me a lot, although I did it in finance, but actually it gave me a very good perspective how to look at functions like operations, functions like finance, functions like materials or manufacturing or even HR, because those theories, I mean, would have never be possible. Would have never learned those, the example, what is called, I'll give some examples. Like we used to work in the current company, we were building some dashboards for marketing, and went through some interesting dashboards like uh, pestel dashboard, like what is your strengths and weaknesses in terms of. I think it's a marketing, stuff. Then BCG matrix is one thing. I think you know better. And then one is some other, some interesting part in marketing. So I think those things were taught to you when you are doing MBAs in the school. Actually, you must know the theory as well, not the only the practical things. Then your depth
Absolutely.
never goes, goes at the right direction. I think those things were really very very helpful for me. And what I understood is it gives you a very good perspective of looking at things, understanding things, because just if you know how to execute things, which are we are all experts into, it really doesn't help always. Because now, as an example, now our group is going through digital transformation. We are setting up smart factories, we are setting up large IoT implementations, MES. We are looking at CRM. We are looking at PLMs and all these things. Correct. Now, if you don't know what is digital transformation, how it really works, how it help other companies, transform with the right use cases, just doing hands-on here and there will not take you to a very very a nice place or stage. So
Absolutely.
to do the next level of activities, you need to have those skill sets always ready with you as knowledge and as theory. I think that really, I think, helped me a lot in understanding. And then I think interesting thing is security is one important thing. Like I started my first security journey in, I still remember, it was Tata Automotive Components, where SOX was implemented as part of Tata Motors initiative. And I think IT general controls, IT application controls, access controls, and many other things I learned first time. And further, when I implemented SOX in Honda motorcycles, and before that we implemented ISO 27001, I only had two benchmarking companies. I want to mention two companies' names and two gentlemen also who really helped me in understanding what is ISO and how it really works. IT Information Security Management System. One is Mr. Rajesh Uppal from Maruti Suzuki, and second was Mr. Jay Menon from Airtel. I talked with both of them. I understood what is information security, how it has to be done. Because believe me, you'll be surprised. In Honda motorcycle scooter India, we were the first units to get ISO 27001 certified in the entire globe. It was not certified by, because Honda always uses their own security standards. They don't believe in any ISO. But it gave us such huge leap in the automotive market. My president and CEO, he came himself to get the certificate from this British Standards Institute. So I think
Awesome.
this kind of things give you learnings, and I believe, and I have done the certification from BSI on lead implementers course. I still remember 2007 I did that. I think still I remember all the 139 controls, 13 work areas, and so on and so forth. So these learnings have really helped me, and I think it stays, like you really rightly mentioned, it stays with you for forever, till
Absolutely.
you leave. Yeah.
So Parna, just to kind of summarize this part, I think what Parna is saying, that like there sometimes is a overt focus on learning by doing, but it's equally important to learn by a formal method as well. And I think the curriculum design, the courses, the kind of collective knowledge that professors have, and many times when you are doing these courses while working, the peers that are studying with you, so everyone comes with a lot of experience. So when I did my own 4-month program from IIM Ahmedabad, I think we learned more from each other, from the diverse industries, and what kind of situations we come across on a day-to-day basis. And of course the professors were great. It really it really exposes you to concepts, and which help you understand the practicalities much better. But I think Parna also talked about a very important one, which I want to call out, which I call as informal learning, which is learning through your network. So Parna, I remember, the first conferences where we met, and Parna is like a sponge. He I think comes very well prepared. That okay, so these are the challenges I'm facing, and then he'll find the best guy who knows it, and he'll pick his brains and keep absorbing and go back. I remember the long.
I want to slightly mention one point for Jagdish. So when we were implementing CRM, I called Jagdish. Jagdish, you implemented CRM, civil CRM long back. What benefits did you get? How much were you charging? And he was not very willing to share the amount. I poked him a lot for 3, 4 consecutive days, and finally he shared, okay, for new sales of trucks and cars, this is the amount, and for servicing, this is the amount. You won't believe, Jagdish, we implemented same logic when we implemented our CRM in Honda motorcycles. Exactly same. Amounts were different, but the concept. Because if I don't collaborate with Vijay Sethis and Rajesh Uppals and Jagdish Belwals, you can't learn without the ecosystem. It's never possible. You have to collaborate this knowledge. Yeah.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I think, many times we go to these conferences, just to meet and, connect with friends and all that. But I think the real value that's there is to learn from peers, and it doesn't hurt to go a little bit prepared that, hey, who are the guys I want to meet and connect with and learn what. And I think a lot of knowledge sharing happens there. So Parna, I'll take a quick pause here at this point, and then I want to bring in some comments that have flowed in since then. Actually, quite a few of them. So let me just give them, bring them up. So Udit, joining from Bombay Pune Highway. Good, Parnada, good to see you after a long time. Always a pleasure to attend Jagdish's sessions. Hey, thanks Udit, and I think that's a good use of time, man. Traveling between Bombay Pune. Rahul from Delhi. Hey, thanks Rahul for joining us. And Satya, first comment. Oh, Satya, there was some people bet you, man. And Satya, but thanks for joining early morning, man, on a Saturday morning. Um, I think now it should be a little easier now that the summertime has started in Texas. Okay, so he has a curiosity question for you, Parnada. He's saying he gave you those three roles. So did he also pay you three salaries or not? We know
No,
the
no,
answer,
no.
but we can say it. Yeah, I think the answer is no, right?
Unfortunately, in CIO's career, roles are always gets added, not the salaries always.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Udit has the next comment. Parnada, you are a part of an elite few dropouts who have succeeded in life due to self-belief, hardworking, and learning. Hats off to you. Yes, absolutely. Hats off to you, Parnada.
But don't compare with me with Steve Jobs. I'm not an innovator. I'm a
But I think,
follower. We are
yeah, yeah. But you are definitely, there's something that connects the two of you. So Ravi Parmarth says, inspiring. Nice to know your success story, sir, and the hard work gone behind the same. Hey, thanks, Ravi, for those kind words. Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you. Um, Amrinder, you have a question. I'll bring it up a little bit later. So Vinay Sahu says, very, very inspiring, sir. And Amrinder says, we are remembering you, Rajesh Uppal, sir, in this edition of Clarity Chat with Parna. Hey, thanks, Amrinder, for mentioning Rajesh, sir. Yes, absolutely. I think the Clarity Chat I had with him was one of the most exciting ones I still remember. Hey, Karthik, no problem, even if you're late. Oh, you're in Pune. Very nice. Thanks for joining, man. Okay, so let's go on with the chat. And guys, keep your questions coming now that as we get to know Parna a little more, we are digging into his, iceberg of his personality. I'm sure a lot of you did not know all of this that he has shared about his beginnings and the career, and how he has risen. So as it leads to curiosities in your minds, please keep your questions coming, and I'll pick them up after a while. Okay. Okay. So, Dada, you did mention a little bit about the cross cultural one. So um, let me let me ask you this question about, um, why do you think the multicultural working is a essential skill, and how do you develop it? Because I'll tell you the reason I'm saying this. Most of the time I've seen that when people come across people from a different country or culture, and religion, or so on, um, the first reaction is a blocker, not like me, not like us, right? So yeah, I mean, but then I think, we also know that we have to overcome this to really grow and learn that, learn a trait of working across cultures. So tell me your experiences.
See, let me tell you one thing very clearly. I don't want to mention the racial part of the things because it's not right in this kind of forums. But example, French people are very highly nationalistic. Okay, when I say nationalistic means they are proud of the nation, they are proud of their language. They don't like English. They don't like talking in some other languages. They are very different than the British and so on and so forth. Now, if you know some bit of French Revolution of 1789, example, and you talk about that how the Bastille Fort was fallen and how the revolution happened, and then France went towards this this industrial revolution and so on and so forth. These guys will be so good friends with you, and if you tell them, boss, I need this help from you, it will be done in seconds and minutes. Similarly, British, they are never open minded, they are very closed, they're very formal, and they will be very, very different. So, but if you tell them, do you want to play golf? Although, Jagdish, you are a golfer, I am not. But I took them to the golf fields, and we worked with them, and they were so happy because they love to have a private life. At the same time, they want to enjoy on the weekends. This is the difference between Indians, British, French, and Americans are very different, very vibrant, very open. Will tell you they will never tell you as a sir or something. They will talk about directly about your name. They're very straightforward, very assertive. One of my auditors, he used to talk so tough during the entire day. He used to come from US, and in the evening we used to enjoy beer at the restaurants or the bars. So issue is understanding multicultural helps you in getting job done by your peers. One second thing is, if that guy has an expertise and if you have to really extract the knowledge or the competency from that guy, you need to really understand how to break through his modus operandi and egos and all these the general tendencies which we have. Indians are pretty flexible, and I have seen pretty flexible, and I mean they work very hard long time, similarly like Italians. So generally, Italians and Indians are easygoing, not that difficult. Although Italians abuse a lot, that's a different thing. But otherwise, and then working with them is easier because our culture matches a lot. Food, habits, way of talking, way of behaving, very unorganized, and all these things. But Japanese, on the other hand, very very different, very very organized, very very systematic, disciplined, doesn't lose talk here and there, talk to the point. And if you change the topics here and there, they will immediately say, sorry, I cannot understand. He will tell you very, very humbly, very humble people. Koreans are slightly different. So I think my advantage was understanding those people. And when you understand, first change within yourself is first change your mindset. Don't be thinking, I am an Indian, I will only behave like this, and whatever he says, I will reject. So the perception or the rejection about people starts when you have this kind of, I mean, the multicultural or the multilingual, multi-geography, assimilation. If you can remove these two things, rejection and this one, then I think your ability to connect is very easy and getting things done will be extremely easier. So when I work for the global projects, it really helped me a lot. I just, because I mentioned Honda also, CNH also, and even in Uno Minda, we are working with a lot of Germans and Spanish guys and also Indonesia, Vietnam people. So diverse cultures are always helpful for you. First is you need to make yourself flexible. First changes within yourself before you start judging others. I think that makes the things much easier.
No, that's I think that's a very very strong message that you have given, that don't judge others. The moment you point a finger at somebody, know that four fingers are pointing towards you, and those four fingers may be being judgmental and rejecting any differences, not being flexible, and all of that. So I think a good part of what you shared was like about how to sort of build those bridges. So I think that that one was really good. That if you know the history of a place,
Yeah.
the guys really appreciated history and geography and culture. And so the moment you tell them that, hey, I've done my homework, I have read about your this thing, I think some of the barriers automatically melt down.
One more thing is there, Jagdish. Just maybe I'll take 30 seconds. Don't talk about the negative things of the race or the people of the culture of the country. Don't talk about that, because if you start talking to the Americans that you are very racial, you kill people like here and there, and you do this and do that, and so on and so forth, then I think the connection will never happen. You talk about the good part of
I think
US.
I think it works both ways, Dada, because I mean, many a times when I have seen when our people talk to the outsiders, they love to talk about the problems that are there with India, right? Right from
Exactly.
crowd traffic and all that. And I always used to coach my team members that, guys, I mean, no, let's have positive conversation. That means we talk all the good things that they want to know about India, and we talk
Correct.
all the good things that we have observed there. And I think that builds that positive connection, where
True.
which goes much beyond cribbing and goes into the curiosity about what's good for you.
And
I
even
mean,
you keep, I mean, even you make them friends till your life ends. It's not
absolutely,
about the
absolutely.
professional friendship. It becomes a personal friendship as well.
No,
True.
absolutely. And instead of harping on the differences, you have to like really figure out and learn how to break through the barriers and those glass walls. Another thing that you mentioned was that learn the good things from each culture, because, like, for example, you may learn how to be very well organized from the Japanese, but at the same time, like, how to manage chaos. That's something you can learn
I
from
went to I
Italian.
went I went to one of my Japanese advisors' home, and as soon as I entered his home, he told me, "Please open up your shoes and keep it there, and wear these some different chappals." I mean, kept
House
in his
chapel.
outside. I was very surprised. How can he talk to me like this? Open your chappals and blah, blah. And we are generally going inside with the shoes only, or maximum we'll open the socks. But he ensured that I wear the chappals to be entered in his room the way it was kept there, and I had to wear that. Then I realized they are so finicky about virus or bacteria or something like that. They will ensure that whatever is sanitized, you only wear that and go inside their homes. Don't not with whatever you want to be like that.
Actually,
And then
actually,
never.
that's not a bad idea at all, even though it hurts you in the beginning.
जैसे हम क्या करते हैं ना, we take people to our bedrooms. अरे, see, this is my almirah. They will never allow you. They will only take you to their sitting area, and then you have to go from there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that I think we have to be conscious of time, and that's what always happens. One of the things that I have not been able to improve in Clarity Chat, because it's a live session, and I don't want to interrupt a good conversation. We always overrun time, and like, I still have a few things, and there are audience questions, and we are like, oh, we are like already just 17 minutes left. So let's go a little faster, Parnada. I think there's a very important topic which I don't want to leave out for the sake of time. Making IT as a profit center rather than just a cost center. Even though I want you to be a little quick about this, but I still want you to talk through examples of, like, uh, what are the case studies of making IT as a profit center, and I mean, and then we'll do a quick discussion around that.
So very quick, three three use cases. One, the first one is in CNH Industrial. So we created the APAC service desk, and we were catering to Russian, colleagues of CNH, Italians, Chinese, Australian with neutral accent, India obviously, and Turkey also. This APAC service desk was set up in India. We hired people from Accenture, TCS, Wipro, and so on and so forth. IBM Daksh, they were all language experts. It was a 24/7 situation. We earned the payback, I think, in 6 months or something. In 6 months, we were able to make the break even. And it's a profit center now for India. I think still it is running. I am not very aware of the current situation. But it was a huge success. We were supporting 10,000 users across the APAC region and sitting in India, round the clock, including Russian dealers as well, or agricultural dealers, agricultural equipment dealers. And the best part is, I mean, the team was not that a huge team. It was around 50, 60 members total in totality. And it was a chat, it was a mail, it was a SMS, or some, I think there was a service now portal through which this entire thing was working. So this profit center, I ran almost for 1.5, 2 years. The people were administratively reporting to me, and functionally they were reporting to the APAC, ICT head. So I think this was one good example. Second was digital showroom we created for the agricultural equipment dealers and also the construction equipment dealers. So when a dealer is investing for a showroom, it's a huge showroom, lot of rentals, lot of electricity charges, salaries, and other things. We used to give them a wearable device, created a virtual reality program through which you can explain the tractors to the farmers who is to come into your showroom. And not only that, from the digital showroom, we used to generate inquiries, which was handled by the call center in Gurgaon in different languages as well: Tamil, Hindi, English, and all these Bengali and all these other languages. And then we used to convert those farmers into prospective customers and final customers. So actually, the prospects from 8 is to 1. Earlier, before this digital showroom, it was 8 is to 1. So 8 inquiries used to come, only one guy used to buy a New Holland tractor or a case construction equipment, which went into 4 is to 1. So it
Wow.
was again a huge turnaround story for, and I think the payback was extremely fast. I think less than a few months, it was done. And the third one was, I think you are an expert in that area. The CRM implementation. I think the cost was recovered in two years time. The entire implementation cost, because we were charging for each sale of the two wheelers services because of the IDs, and it was one of the largest CRM implementation after Tata Motors and Hero Motor Corp. I think this was around 42,000 user base, 4,000 plus dealerships, and so on and so forth. So huge implementation, and it was another big, I think I will say. Not exactly a profit margin scenario, but it was basically a use case to showcase how IT can become business enabler to a business driver. So I think these are the three I can share. There are multiple things like that, but I think let's keep it short.
Yeah. So no, thanks, Dada. I think this is very interesting that when you're looking at any IT implementation, whether it's service desk or whether it is digital showroom or whether it is CRM, you are always looking at from the business benefit point of view. And the thing is that you cannot talk about it unless you deliver that value, right? Now, if you have a service desk as a profit center, people will not accept. People who are paying that profit center will not accept it if you deliver not if you don't deliver quality services. Or like for example, you cannot sustain an initiative unless you demonstrate that I have improved the conversion rates from 8 is to 1 to 4 is to 1. So I think it's a very important mindset issue also, Parna, that I see here, that we have to focus on creating that business value in such a way that we can talk about it confidently. जो बोलते हैं ना, we can डंके की चोट पे बोलेंगे कि भाई IT ने ये काम किया है. And
True.
that is something when you're making that impact, and when you're which you can talk about confidently, you at par with any other business leader, because all the other functions do one or the other, right? I mean, they typically are driven by numbers, and the moment you bring numbers into your thinking and operations, I think it just gets you that respect and that seat on the table. So Dada, let me go on to your latest story, which is like again a very compelling story about transformation at Minda. Just maybe in the next couple of minutes, walk us quickly through uh, you know then and now kind of a story, and maybe top 3 or 4 initiatives as to how you reached from then to now.
So Unominda, when I joined, I think it was around 4,500 turnover, and now we are almost going to touch 20,000 this year, and aspiring to grow very, very fast in the next 5 years in this space. I think the IT initially was very fragmented and very, very basic things were missing. as usual with the tier ones, what happens, and then security was not in place. Basic things like Active Directory, your DNS, your domain controllers, and your antivirus, and so on and so forth. I can continue for the next 15 minutes, but it will not be over. So I think things were not in place. We shaped everything under single umbrella, put a single countrywide network in place because so many plants were there. When I joined, 45 locations. Now we have 115, locations almost. Every time, every month we are growing. Every quarter we are growing very very fast with respect to new business acquisitions and new technology. Bringing it under the umbrella of Minda. So, was first one, I think the SAP S4 HANA, we were the first company in the automotive industry in India into 2017 when we gone live with S4 HANA, then followed by supplier communication system, followed by an employee portal, followed by your dashboards, which was again one of the first in case in tier ones. OEMs were always having these dashboards, but tier one there was no one, there was no good use case for going ahead with dashboards first time, analytical dashboards. We were one of the first use cases. Even Office 365, I think in 2017 when it was in a very nascent stage, we were one of the first adopters of Office 365, which we started using in our organization. So these were something. And now if you look at, we are looking at digital transformation at large, whether it's digital manufacturing, whether it's digital enterprise, whether it is digital technologies, whether it is smart manufacturing, connected factories. So we are having massive programs in place. And in a smart factory, as you know, the investments are quite big. So starting from the receiving of the goods till the dispatch of the goods to the customers, and you have an ecosystem of supply to customer, which is has to be connected, along with the connected factory as well. People, process, technology, data, everything has to be in one place. Like in manufacturing terminology, we call 4M: man, machine, method, material. So I think similarly, all these things have to be connected. And so we are running a program, a very large program. I don't want to mention the suppliers' names as it's a public forum, but otherwise, we are working with very, very large suppliers for this enablement. And these smart factories will definitely give the right set of KPIs which we are looking at, and the payback and ROI is also calculated. This will be monitored by our finance teams because end of the day, whatever we invest has to return back to the organization. So I think this is what we are looking at. We are looking at the latest technologies, whether it is AI, ML, whether it is robotics process automation, whether it is visual analytics, a blockchain, and so on and so forth. So I'm not getting into too much of details. This cloud and
Yeah.
cyber security is anyway the hygiene part. So I think nothing to discuss about it. But rest of the things we are working very, very having very large engagements with large companies. Lot of ecosystem partners are working with us. I think we're aspiring to become digitally transformed by 2930 in the entire group, and that program is currently running in the entire organization.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. No, partner, I think, you know, very inspiring that, like, everybody running their own IT to, like, bringing everybody under the same umbrella. I think it does take a lot of, like, standardization, centralization, etc. And then being able to, like, grow from 45 to 125. It does not happen unless you put a very strong foundation in place. You cannot actually build a big building. So thanks for that. So let me bring in some audio. We are 6 minutes away, and I think we will have to go a little bit over. I hope that's okay with you, Dada. uh,
I'm
okay, okay. No, then that's good, and I'll seek an apology from from the audience also. They're like, oh my god, Jagdish is again going over 6. Yeah, but I know, Jindagi na milegi dobara, so I don't want to leave this this opportunity. So very quickly, LinkedIn user, and I think this is, if I'm correct, Rahul from Delhi. He appreciates that the strategy you applied to drive the change is really inspiring, sir. Then there's Sushil Bangar, inspirational journey. Um BN Shrikant, amazing conversation. Say thank you, BNS. Thanks for the appreciation. Okay, so here is a question again. Again, let's make it rapid fire, Dada. So, from your lived experience, how do you give chances to people who may not have the pedigree of IIT or NIT? Do you actively promote alternative hiring practices, and what are they?
Yeah, absolutely. We hire from colleges from NCR, from Pune, from South, without being tagged with IITs and NITs, and very much. I believe we have no persons in the organization, at least in IT department, who is from IIT or NIT, for your information. So be rest assured, we hire definitely from all the other institutes, for sure. So
Okay.
the important thing is keen to learn, need to learn, and also willing to develop, deliver. I think if these things are in place, nothing will fall short in delivering the right solutions.
Absolutely. I think one thing somebody long back told me is that what differentiates people from India than, let's say, any other geography or culture is that uh, our people are very very keen to learn. They are explorers, they are learners, and of course not everybody, but as long as you find people who are willing to learn, grow, and develop themselves, I don't think college matters. Yeah, I mean, just for example, in Flock and Go, we have somebody who's again like not even a college dropout, he's a school dropout, but self-made person, learned coding and everything, and then um he couldn't find a job in the bigger companies because everybody asked for a degree, and we took a skill test and all, and we said, buddy, if you know how to code this, and you're good at it, we don't care about the education part of it. That's something that we'll take care of it.
I'll tell a very
And he's
small
one of
story.
our and he's one of our best coders actually.
Jagdish, I'll take 15 seconds if you allow me. There is a
Please.
guy in our organization, he's still working with us, not with IT department. This guy was a loader. You know loaders? Loaders means who loads material from trucks to the stores and stores back to the trucks. So from a loader, he completed his graduation. He worked in materials and PPC department. He was transferred to IT as a MM module leader. He worked in IT for 10 years and now again transferred back to one of the businesses as a PPC head. And he is now leading the entire planning and procurement for that
Awesome.
plant. Now I think he's a senior manager or something. So amazing stories. They are not.
Absolutely.
They have no IIT and NIT pedigrees. Yep.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So there's another very insightful question from Udit. He's asking, in any Indian entity, navigating the maze of powerhouses is a key skill. Please share some wisdom on this based on your experience. I think especially in your case, Dada, I mean, you have handled large groups, multinational, like power centers, and also give us a couple of tips, maybe top three management tips on managing politics and powerhouses.
See, I think if you have high skilled people in your organization, you have to understand how to utilize their energy. You have to channelize their energies into the right channels. If you get into all these, day to day problems and start bombarding on them with issues and stuff like that, things will never work. So, utilize their energies and utilize their skills and competencies into the right channels. Example, if somebody is very good in customer handling, put him into a CRM application or CRM implementation. Give him some assignment. If somebody is very good in documentation, ask him to do a benchmarking for your security practices. If somebody is very strong in, or very arrogant in terms of, but he's a very good developer, example, very arrogant guy. You give him such a challenging task that his arrogance automatically comes down. So I think how to, understanding people, I think is the biggest and the toughest thing to do in management. But my suggestion would, or my comments would be, first understanding the skills requirements and accordingly do that instead of just giving some things to somebody and then you land up into trouble and not able to deliver things is not the right way. First understanding people is extremely important. Yep.
Thank you, Dada. And yeah, there's some appreciation from Pratik. Great insights on handling cultural diversity. And so there is a question from Karthik. He's saying, Ghosh, post pandemic, how does one turn the unplanned outage prone home infrastructure bound service desk that has gravitated from the pre-pandemic call center from incurring penalties imposed by the client because they have missed the response and resolution? I think basically what he's asking is that these service desks from a co-located place, they have moved to home based, and therefore you have lesser control on that. So Dada, if you have handled this kind of thing, if you have a practical experience on that, you can talk to the other, we can skip it.
Yeah, CNH, I was not there that time, but I was in Minda. But point here is, if you have a digital, place where everything is landing up. An example, we had service now in CNH. Here we were using something else. Example I'll give you, Jagdish. Very good example. Before the pandemic, 24th March, I remember the date, 24th March 2020, till 23rd March 2020, only 15 users were using Teams, MS Teams, for communication, meetings, and presentations, and so on and so forth. 24th March and till 26th March, we onboarded 5,000 people on Teams platform. Isn't it a digital transformation? Although COVID forced us to do that, but point here is, we did not organize a single training or even meeting anybody. Everybody was digital, only phone calls and something. It worked very well. So I think sometimes compulsion is very important to forcefully implement some of the things. But yes, you are right. If you have a digital platform in place, doing the service, calls, or service desk, running service desks are extremely easier for you. If you don't have that, I think it will be really a difficult thing, because if you just take phone calls and something like that, then you are actually disconnected, because you are only on your mobile phones, which are not shared with the clients. So that really becomes a
Absolutely.
big problem.
Yeah. So there's a rapid fire for you, Dada. Deepak is asking planning and executing. What should be the percentage of time distribution? How much? What
Okay,
percentage of time should be spent on planning and what percentage on executing?
what I do is a different thing, but what is required, I can tell you. What we do is, I think we do around 40-60 kind of thing, 40% planning and 60% execution. But the Japanese theory says 80-20. So 80% planning and 20% of the execution. If you do a very fantastic, very good planning, uh, you will land up into a very good execution. But generally, what happens, scoping, collecting the data, collecting the requirements is always does not happen very well, especially in Indian context. And users also do not explain you things very well. It really is a big pain area. That's why the 40-60 happens. But theoretically, it should be 80-20. Yep.
I agree with you. I think this is one of the, for people who have worked in both India and abroad, Indian companies, MNC companies. When I ask them that what is the biggest difference, and this is something they always tell about, that these MNCs company will bore you to death with the planning, and if there is any gap in the plan, you will be sent back, and there's nothing like which needs to be like kind of we are like we will see when it comes. So there's nothing in that planning.
Even
It's
Jagdish, I want to just mention here why I like the Japanese very well, because I have never seen in my Honda days a single vehicle which has been, the delays, the launches have been delayed by a single day. Never. Whatever was disclosed in the beginning of the launch, maybe after 1 year, the date will be complied to. Whatever comes in the middle. But I have seen in Italian companies, a lot of changes happen. So I think there's a big difference
I
between
think I think I think I think Deepak's follow-up question is, why are we not organized? So let me take this up, Dada, for you.
Okay, yeah,
So
please,
Deepak,
please.
yeah. So Deepak, my study on this is that I mean, for all these geographies where there's a lot of emphasis on planning, if you see that the society and culture itself is very organized and very predictable, right? If Google Maps tells you that you will reach somewhere at 8:35, you will reach at 8:35, because nobody will be creating an unnecessary traffic jam there, right? Similarly, if somebody says, this work will be done in so and so time, he will do it in so and so time. That's a predictability and accountability that they carry. I think here both of the things are not there. Anybody can be disrupting. The level of I would say unsurety that you have, it basically doesn't allow us to be that organized. So
Maybe, can I give a small example if you
yeah,
allow me?
please,
So,
please.
example, when I was telling my Japanese advisor, IT advisor, that we need flexibility in production planning, he told me why. In Japan, whenever I give a schedule to the supplier, he has to supply me and I will produce according to the plan. Why there will be production plan change? I mean, India is a different context. There are a lot of breakdowns, some labor shortage, blah 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 blah, and he never agreed to that. So, point here is their culture, the upbringing, their education system is made in such a manner they will always comply by the discipline, standards, and processes.
Absolutely.
We are slightly weak in this area, for sure.
So, Dada, let me bring in some of my own rapid fire. I mean, there was one question on cybersecurity, but I think you have talked about it. Is starting from the ITGC, and then and then driving cybersecurity ISO 27001. So I will let me skip that for now, maybe another day. But let me now bring up the rapid fires. I'm also conscious of time. Um, so yeah, tell us about some of your first industry first, Parna, whether it is Uno Minda or any other place, maybe top three where you're proud to be the first one off the block.
I told you about this S4 HANA implementation in Uno Minda was one of the first of its nature. Uh, Supplier communication portal on SAP HANA Cloud, very interesting project, first of its kind. Now, smart factory, I don't know how many ancillary companies are planning for a smart factory in totality, what we are thinking. So I believe we should be one of the first goers or first movers in this area as well.
Awesome.
There will be many such, but I think let's restrict to these three.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we didn't take that question on cybersecurity, but one of the things I remember you told me during the prep chat was that you have extended your cybersecurity initiatives to your suppliers, and that's credible. But why did you do it, and how did you do it? Again, rapid fire.
Now in this connected world, your ecosystem has to be 100% secure. Even Tata Motors, Mahindras, Marutis, and all other OEMs are doing cybersecurity assessment for us. They're extending support to us. They're doing assessment with us. So we understood that it's not that we are driving this with compulsion, but it is a compulsion from the OEM itself. So it has to happen with your tier two, even to the tier three. They have to be secured enough. Otherwise, one day in the entire supply chain there will be a data leakage, or there will be a severe cyber threat which can impact your reputation, business, and brand image as well. I think it's a need of the hour for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a connected world. Your reputation is as
Absolutely.
much in the hands of your suppliers as much as you, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so Dada, you realized the value of education a bit later in your journey, and you have fully embraced it. You have actually done more education than you would have done in a classical way. But how are you multiplying it now? How are you making sure that the impact of education is larger and larger?
Right now my objective of getting educated is nothing but understanding the theoretical part of the education, because practical I think we are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. We have pretty good expertise as we all have hands-on, but I think that learning the theories, in example, AIML, how many types of learnings are there? Supervised learning and unsupervised learning. It took me almost few weeks to understand why there has to be two different types of learnings. Then I realized that's the way AI and ML is structured. And then what is deep learning? Why deep learning is different than machine learning? I think the basic concepts you must know. Otherwise, handling highly, some question was there,
Got
it
it. Yeah.
actually resembles to the same. If you're handling highly qualified professionals with data science backgrounds, with AIML backgrounds, with coding backgrounds, and you don't know the subject very well, I don't think you will do justice to your role as well. So, as a CIO, if I have to be a CDO tomorrow and aspire to become the digital driver for the organization, I must know the technologies at least at a superficial level, if not slightly in depth.
Okay, okay. No, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think the important point I want to pick up there is that, how will you manage the experts if you don't develop a basic level of expertise
Yeah,
yourself, right?
absolutely.
So any hobby that many people may not know?
Singing was a hobby earlier, but now my throat is
अरे
really.
क्या बात कर रहे हैं दादा?
So that was one of my passions and hobbies earlier. Obviously, music, learning. I'm sorry, listening to music, and also traveling is a good hobby for me. I travel to Kolkata a lot because I miss that place. Last 25 years, I'm outside, so every 6 months I go back to the roots. And I don't go to Kolkata, by the way. I go to the rural part of Bengal to
Oh,
feel
okay.
vibes of the
That's a
actual.
that's a that's a that's a very good way to remain grounded and connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dada,
exactly.
any favorite leadership book?
I think this. Stephen Covey's this Seven Habits is one of my
Seven
favorite.
habits of highly effective people. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
it's
it's like
really
a
good,
time
and
machine.
you can read it throughout your life. It will always help you in something.
Abs-
There are many more. I mean, this just came in my mind.
Absolutely. Before we end the chat, any last advice to the next generation of leaders, people who are there here on this chat?
I think nowadays the things have become more agile. Big, large projects are I mean, although happening, but things are completely changed because of the agile methodologies, the way this technologies are coming up, DevOps, and the way cybersecurity is changing. I think we need to understand how to learn quickly, fail fast, and learn quickly, and then deploy things as per the learnings are concerned. So I think if we can follow this PDCA cycle, which is also a very predominantly old system, but I think fail early, learn quickly, deploy fast is my mantra for quick learning and quick deployment. You will get better success in your career. If you start a very big project without smaller milestones, I think getting lost is very very easy, and you may not achieve or reach to that level what you aspire to become aspire to. Hence, I will request everyone to look at smaller, like our chairman always says, look for 3 months CFT programs. Don't look for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year kind of scenarios. Three
Absolutely,
months,
absolutely,
achieve something, go to the next part. Yeah.
absolutely. So Amrinder has a question, rapid fire for you.
Okay.
If I may ask, how's the cooking going? The hobby you picked up during the lockdown?
Oh, yes, he knows it very well. Yeah, yeah, it's going very well. Yeah, yeah, he's right. That's also going well. But Amrita, nowadays I am slightly off because of the digital transformation. The cooking transformation has slightly taken a backseat. So maybe sooner I will pick up that again. It's a hobby for me for sure. Yeah, he's right. Absolutely right.
You start wrapping up, let me bring in another comment from Udit. So Udit says Singur to Sanand movement was planned for 6 months and executed in less than 3 months. Jagdish, I learned from Ramesh Vishwakarma. Planning is the key. Oh no, absolutely, absolutely, Udit. So one of the guys who was very key to this person to this movement was later on my team member, and I learned from him, and I like really appreciated the amount of detailed planning, numbering, sequencing, etc. The amount of work they did in that 6 months, and at the granularity level was simply amazing, amazing.
It was also a personal setback for me. Do you know that? So 2006 was the story I remember. I was in Tata Toyo, and we were supposed to set up a ancillary unit in Singur, just beside the plant, and it was shelved off, and I was so frustrated because I told my MD that once it happens, I will go there and work in Kolkata, and then I will be near closer to my native place.
Oh my God.
And it went. I mean, it was really a setback personally to
So
me.
so Udit Udit touched a rod now. Yeah. So Dada, before we close, maybe I've been asking you all the questions so far. So any question from you to me, I want to give you at least one opportunity to ask me something.
No, Jagdish, I think it's an
I
easy.
call it the revenge question.
No, not revenge, not revenge. I think the point here is, I know you very well for last almost 18 years now, 2007 onwards, and I have seen you in the Tata Motors roles, leading such huge transformation, and even you were part of that Jaguar Land Rover, acquisition when it started happening. And then you led such a huge CRM function, coming to IT, and then moving out to GE, and then suddenly you changed everything and went into a completely entrepreneur's role. I think that's really, I will challenging. Sometimes I will say very, uh, how to say, it's very difficult. How do you really manage, and how do you really look at your career, look at your, way of dealing things now from those days?
Yeah. No, Dada, I think that's a great question. But I mean, it has happened so many times in my life in terms of taking a jump, into water without having learned how to swim. Like for example, I was a service engineer, and like I was hardcore into customer service when I was asked to, be part of the CRM program, which was highly technology. And then I learned technology and started doing it. And then, from CRM, when I was asked to take over as the CIO, again, I did not know E of ERP, and I did not know I of infrastructure, right? And the thing is that, there are many times in my life that I have gone through that anxiety and that insecurity, that I'm being asked to do something that I don't know, right? Um uh, so I've already gone through it a couple of times. So I was like, no problem, let it be the third time. But I think important thing is, to be able to learn. So when I joined those when I took those two leaps earlier, as a technology program manager and as a CIO, there was an ecosystem to teach me, right? But when I became an entrepreneur, how do you learn entrepreneurship? So I kind of, like, looked around, and I found that, what get I need to get some inputs on this. So actually, I hired a coach, a friend who had turned a coach and who had turned an entrepreneur and coach after a corporate career. And I basically learned from him in a fairly formal and I would say an intimate manner on, like, what does it take to be a good entrepreneur? How do you convert? I think the biggest question that comes when you go from a professional to an entrepreneur route is, a lot, you've got lots of case studies, you've got lots of experiences, you've got lots of management wisdom, but how do you productize it? How do you convert into something that you think the people need, right? So I learned that part. And then God was kind, and then my partner came along and he said, we'll do a startup. So I would just say that God has been kind, and I think partly it was also the continued focus on learning something new and not being overconfident about it. So yeah, so that's about it. Dada, thanks for that question. I think it helped me reminisce, some of my journey itself. So
Great.
quickly, just to summarize the entire chat. Parna had a very humble beginnings. He got an encouragement to learn computers. Then he continued working on his education, and then I think every time he got a degree, he got a career break, and I think so. He's still continuing to learn. Latest being AIML from IIT Guwahati. Yeah, so learned to diverse multicultural, experiences in CNH. And again, his advice was, keep an open mind, be flexible, figure out what will cut ice with somebody. With somebody, it can be history. With somebody, it can be some sports. With somebody, it can be, something very different. But just learn what will cut the ice. And of course, like, we discuss about having positive conversations, not really discussing the negatives of your culture versus negatives of my culture or region, but rather, having a more positive conversation. uh, then we discussed about, like, IT becoming a profit center. And I think what we discussed was that you have to deliver value that you can talk about, that you can boast about. And to do that, you have to deliver some real good quality and tangible benefits. And that's what basically brings you at par with your peers in the business. And that's what gives you a different kind of confidence. And that's what also gets you, bigger projects and bigger money to do things, right? Then we discussed about the Uno Minda experience, from very, very fragmented IT to, growing the company having grown four times. It cannot just happen with the same foundation. Parna strengthened the whole foundation with standardization, harmonization, bringing centralization, etc. And strengthening the cybersecurity elements. And I think on that strong foundation, he has built a building of, whether it's a smart factory or being the first in Office 365, or being the first in, in S4 HANA, etc. Right? Um, so his advice was to the next generation is to, like, fail early, learn quickly, uh, and don't go beyond 3 months in any initiative, right? We did have a good amount of questions from the audience, and thank you everyone for that engagement and for all your questions and for all your appreciation. I think yes, Parna's story is quite inspirational, and some of the things that he about, you don't realize, Parna, how when you look at it from the other side, how inspirational it could be. So thank you, Parnada, for coming on Clarity Chat, and thank you for uh, staying 20 minutes over over the time. And thank you all our audience, for attending and engaging and for being here. Thanks, Amrinder, for this nice summary that you have done here. I've just brought it up. I mean, that's like so nice that you have been, like, taking notes all this while. Um, and thank you for all those who are watching the video recording of this session. So, Dada and all the audience, everybody, please enjoy your family time. And once again, thank you, Parna, for joining me on Clarity Chat today. We'll
Thank
be.
you.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
thanks to all the audience for asking very easy questions. Sorry.
I think they looked easy to you because you've been there and done that. So thank you everyone. We'll meet in May, and again, to remind you, our Clarity Chat is now a monthly edition, but I'm sure the content will still be as strong and maybe stronger than what it has been, just because it gives us much more time to prepare, plan, and balance it with other things. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. See you. Have a nice weekend. And thank you, Dada, once again for your coming
Thanks.
here.
Thanks.